A taste of freedom for the first time in weeks. Tonight, a major development in the Middle East war.
Israel and Hamas swap prisoners and hostages, part of a temporary truce. Good evening. 24 hostages are free tonight after they were released by Hamas earlier today, part of an exchange that saw the release of nearly 40 Palestinians held in Israeli jail.
The delicate truce held through its first day, with more aid arriving into Gaza, where residents are experiencing a reprieve from the fighting. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
Roughly 9 hours after the guns in Gaza fell silent, the first hostages arrived at the Rafah border crossing. Hamas releasing this video showing the moment women, children, and some Thai nationals were handed over to the International Red Cross. In Egypt, paramedics waited as the hostages arrived, ranging in age from 2 to 85. In total, 13 Israelis were released, along with 10 Thai nationals and 1 Filipino. The Israeli hostages were then transported by bus to a military base where they underwent additional medical checks and were able to speak with their families for the first time in nearly 50 days.
I want to ask of Hamas, don't hurt them.
Among those released, the wife and daughters of Yoni Asher, seen here in October pleading for their safety. Danielle Aloni, seen in this Hamas hostage video, was also freed along with her daughter, Amelia. We have now completed the return of the first of our hostages, Israel's prime minister said, vowing to bring them all home as soon as possible. There were cheers as buses carrying 39 Palestinian prisoners arrived in Ramallah. 24 women and 15 teenagers were released from Israeli jails today, all part of the agreement between Israel and Hamas. Mara Bakir embraced her mother for the first time since she was arrested in 2015. Solitary confinement was hard, she says, adding she was shocked when told about news of this deal. Another prisoner, 17-year-old Laith Othman, celebrated as he returned home. The situation in prison is really hard, he says. I can't express how hard it is. As part of this temporary truce, more aid is being allowed into Gaza, with humanitarian organizations hoping to deliver at least some to the north, though it's not clear if that will be allowed. For now, a reprieve, however brief it may be, from bombs and bombardment. I am now very happy, this man says. I feel at ease. Israel's military says initial examinations show none of the hostages face any life-threatening medical emergencies. Officials are now looking ahead to tomorrow, when the next group of hostages and prisoners are set to be released. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
And our coverage continues online. You can get the latest updates on this story on our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca, and we'll have more international reaction to the big story later in the newscast.
But first, we turn to the battle over an encampment in Kensington Market.
The small collection of tents has been home to people for close to 2 years, but now the city wants it removed amid safety concerns. CTV's Mike Walker has been monitoring what's been a tense day outside St. Stephen in the Fields Church. What's the latest, Mike?
Well, Michelle's right. The city says it needs to clear this encampment due to the fire risk. All day, city staff have been negotiating with people who live here, offering them a space in a shelter. But advocates are voicing their concerns, arguing these people won't get the support they need with city shelters at capacity. City staff attempt to negotiate with people living at this encampment outside St. Stephen in the Fields Church, offering them shelter space, while homeless advocates surround the site, speaking out against the eviction.
My concern is that people are being uprooted from a supportive space. My concern is that they are going to be further displaced, further traumatized.
The church says the encampment has been a refuge for the homeless, with some people living here for the past 2 years.
They're letting everybody just live here, without being biased.
Like this man who prefers to rely on church services for support instead of a shelter.
They're putting people way out in Scarborough, like farther away where they don't have the resources that they would have downtown.
The city argues the encampment encroaches on a city-owned right-of-way, stressing it presents an immediate and ongoing public safety risk.
The captain of the fire department said that there are combustible materials, and also there have been 3 fires that have occurred just this year.
The mayor says staff are guaranteeing shelter space for 8 people who currently live here. By late this afternoon, at least 5 people agreed to relocate to a shelter.
All of the people staying in that encampment have been offered shelter hotels with wraparound services, so they would get the kind of support that they need.
But advocates argue there is nowhere else to go, especially for the long term.
I think it's a disgrace. There are no shelter spaces. I know, because I was trying to find someone a shelter space at 7:30 last night, and the best I could do was put her in layers of clothes and give her a sleeping bag.
People who live in the area voicing concerns over garbage, thefts, and drug use.
Encampment has to be removed. I have witnessed people fighting. I've seen weapons.
I don't think that this should be allowed to go long term in this vicinity because of the different problems associated with it. Bear in mind we have 2 schools in the neighborhood.
Church officials say the city rejected its offer to have people leave the encampment for a day so crews could clean it.
I don't think their concern is ultimately the fire risk. Ultimately, they just want people off the site.
The city says clearing the site is a last resort, but necessary amid the fire risk. Now, the effort to remove people from the encampment today has been peaceful. Police have not been brought in up until this point. Church officials tell us there is one individual who refuses to leave the encampment, and they've been issued a trespass notice. There are a couple of other individuals who have relocated to another spot on church property. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Zoraida, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. But first, parts of the GTA were hit with some wintry weather today. This is video of some of the flurries flying outside the CTV studios in Scarborough early this afternoon.
And take a look at this sight from our CTV News chopper. It's another perspective of the snow squalls moving in over Scarborough. You can see the sun still shining above those clouds.
And here's a live look tonight. We're going to hold on to that chance of flurries through this evening before clearing overnight. Lindsay Morrison joins us now with a look at our current conditions. We're definitely getting a sort of early taste of wintry type weather today, Linz.
Yeah, you could say, Zoraida, it's about time, depending on your perspective. We haven't had a lot of snow here in the city of Toronto, and these were the first flakes for many. The snow a little more intense this hour still around areas like Barrie and Innisfil. There is still a winter weather travel advisory in place from Midland Penetanguishene to New Tecumseh. So the reason for these flurries, strong winds coming out of the northwest off the open Great Lakes, lake effect snow as it's also known. Temperature-wise, yeah, we're feeling the effects of that northwest wind as well. It is currently -1 degree, but it feels like -8. Overnight tonight, we're forecasting a low of -4 degrees, wind chill -6. But again, conditions are going to clear out. We have a nice Saturday ahead. Then active weather returns for Sunday. We'll take you through the weekend forecast coming up. For now, Michelle, over to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Next to the latest example of the length thieves will go to try and steal your vehicle.
Caught on a dash cam, suspects making multiple attempts to get their hands on an SUV. But in this case, the owner was just as determined to protect his property. CTV's John Woodward joins us now live with the story. John, this comes as the Ontario government continues to promise a crackdown on the crime.
Yeah, this case speaks to that arms race that's going on right now. As thieves are getting smarter and more prolific, drivers are finding themselves needing to upgrade their security too. It's just after midnight Friday morning, and the people in that white car are hunting for vehicles to steal. The dash cam on this Dodge Durango records the sound of one would-be thief trying the door. They leave, but it's not over.
They came there with the idea of leaving within a minute.
3 hours later, they're back and they set to work. The one in the black goes under the hood to disable the horn. That's so when his partner smashes the window to get inside, there's no alarm.
Seems like they're some kind of, they're professional, they know what they're doing.
But they weren't expecting a backup alarm, which goes off when the car rearms itself. The pair can't get out of there fast enough.
So that's the moment when they trigger the alarm.
The driver, Andrew, watching it the whole time through a remote app. He's relieved he's still got his car.
They didn't make off with it, so.
His secret? A third-party security system that the vendors at Cobra Car and Truck Accessories say thieves put to the test regularly in the GTA.
I get calls all the time about people who have told me, hey, your system saved my car. I have one customer, they've tried to steal their car 4 times, and every time they haven't been able to.
Andrew's car saved, but many aren't so lucky. More than 10,000 cars have been stolen in Toronto alone this year, and in the GTA, high-tech thieves who defeat regular systems with ease are one factor driving a surge. Another, pure profit.
Canada is now a source country of stolen autos across this world. It is the third largest revenue source for organized crime.
The provincial government looking to give police millions to catch thieves.
The investments we're making across the province will help our police services fight back against auto theft and put the criminals behind bars where they belong.
It's a huge problem, and it's not slowing down, it's getting worse.
Andrew supports a crackdown, but points out if the cars can be made more secure, there's no theft in the first place. The opposition NDP tells us they believe that money to the police needs to be matched by money to the courts to make sure those thieves can be prosecuted. That car security system we showed you there retails for about $1,000, and our driver Andrew says it's worth it because he still has his much more expensive car. Reporting live from Mississauga, I'm John Woodward. Zoraida, back to you.
Thank you, John. Also in Peel, police have charged 2 people in an armed carjacking. The dramatic arrest captured on a police helicopter camera.
He's coming right towards us.
2 right there in that black F-150. 2 in the black F-150.
Follow the G-Wagon coming towards us.
It began when a man tried to sell his Mercedes G-Wagon to a potential buyer in a Brampton parking lot. 2 suspects arrived, one with a firearm demanding the keys. One made off with the vehicle while the other followed behind. Police were able to track the vehicles to Weston Road and the 401. At one point, the stolen G-Wagon collided with a police vehicle and fled, but officers were able to take the occupants of the trailing vehicle, an F-150, into custody. The person who stole the G-Wagon is still at large and is suspected in another carjacking later that day.
A major update to share with you on that fiery crash at the Rainbow Bridge border crossing on Wednesday. U.S. officials have now identified the 2 people killed. The Niagara Falls Police Department says the occupants of the vehicle were a married couple, 53-year-old Kurt Villani and 53-year-old Monica Villani of Grand Island, New York. Video of the incident showed a white car on the U.S. side fly off a median and explode into flames at the customs complex. All border crossings have reopened as the investigation continues.
And one of the victims in a crash north of Newmarket yesterday afternoon has now died. It happened at Green Lane and Main Street in the town of East Gwillimbury. 2 vehicles collided. Police say the drivers were not injured, but each had a female passenger who were both seriously hurt. One of them, a 65-year-old woman, died in hospital. Police are now looking for any witnesses to come forward. No charges have been laid.
And quite the crash in the QEW this afternoon. The OPP say a tow truck pulling a tractor trailer crashed through the steel barrier. This was in the Toronto-bound lanes at Guelph Line. 2 right lanes of the highway were blocked for the cleanup. No injuries reported.
Several months after a deadly house fire in Oshawa, Durham police say they are now treating the incident as a homicide investigation. On March 6th, fire crews responded to a burning home on Court Street and found a man dead inside. At the time, officials said they were treating the incident as suspicious. Today, police arrested 37-year-old Josh Bickle from Tweed. He's now facing a charge of second-degree murder.
The Toronto Public Library says it will take several more weeks to restore all services following a cyber attack last month. Last week, the library reported a large number of files were stolen from its servers, and some of the information may end up on the dark web. It says some customer, volunteer, and donor data that was on the compromised server may have been exposed. Access to services will be restored gradually beginning in January, with priority given to the online and public computing services.
And while you can still visit branches in person, library officials said in part, we recognize that this is a long period of time without full library services, but this is considered an aggressive time frame within the context of such an attack and the experience of other institutions in similar circumstances.
Could Ontarians soon know when beer will be sold in corner stores?
Promised by the Premier, we have learned a provincial plan on updated alcohol sales is expected sometime before Christmas. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us now live with the details. Siobhan.
Well, this would represent the biggest change when it comes to alcohol sales since the Wynne government put beer and wine in grocery stores. We talked to some people today who do have a wish list for this new plan. Ontario looks to be on the verge of a new era for how and where we buy alcohol.
Just doesn't make sense, so we're moving forward with this.
The Premier has long promised to put beer in corner stores. A source tells CP24 the government will announce the new plan for selling alcohol in mid-December. Right now, a deal with the beer store limits how many grocery stores can sell beer, and it can't be more than a 6-pack. Craft brewers are also limited in where they can sell. Smaller wineries feel like they're losing in this equation.
We're working alongside with the beer store. We're in negotiations, and we're going to keep our promise to make sure that we have convenience and selection across the province.
Something convenience store operators have been asking for decades.
Every other convenience store in North America has it. And change our business models forever and help us.
Dave Bryan sees it as a win for shoppers, too.
Be able to buy cold beer on a hot summer day, or they're ready to drinks to take to the cottage, and not be inconvenienced by having to find a beer store.
It's something people seem ready to toast to.
I think it's good. Quebec's been doing it for many years. Why not?
If it's done right, it's about time, because you go to the grocery store, you get everything else, and you still got to make another stop.
I'm sure they're going to guard it for minors, right? You know, maybe kids come in. You know, ever see in convenience stores? Only 3 kids.
The Centre for Mental Health and Addiction does have concerns about access, not just for kids. When booze is easier to grab in more places at different hours.
Time after time after time, you might see across the population increased alcohol consumption. And then, in relation to that, increased harms.
And research shows more emergency room visits and alcohol-related deaths in other jurisdictions after booze rules were loosened. The Premier emphasized that the beer store will have a role to play in this new setup, that he wants to be fair to them, and the beer store plays a big role right now collecting empties across the province. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Zoraida, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Coming up, elbows up, shoppers. Black Friday is well underway. Stores everywhere attempting to attract your dollars with discounts. How did the sales stack up this year, and are consumers interested? Members of Ontario's Liberal Party will vote to elect a new leader this weekend. There are 4 candidates vying for the top job. Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie, federal Liberal MPs Nate Erskine-Smith and Yasser Naqvi, along with provincial Liberal caucus member Ted Sue. More than 100,000 members of the Liberal Party are eligible to cast their ballots during a vote this weekend. It will be a ranked ballot, which is meant to give every member a say. The party's new leader will be announced at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre on December 2nd.
Voters in a Scarborough ward will have the chance to go to the polls this weekend in an upcoming by-election. This is advanced voting for the City Council seat in Ward 20, Scarborough Southwest. From 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow and Sunday, eligible voters can stop by Birchmount Community Centre and Warden Hilltop Community Centre to cast their ballots. By-election day is November 30th, and you can find further details on the city's website.
The federal government is funding a new reception center for asylum seekers not far from Pearson Airport.
The center will help better direct newly arrived asylum claimants, newcomers, to the services available to them, and to help relieve the pressures on other shelters in the area.
Ottawa will provide $7 million to Peel Region to open the facility. Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown welcomed the news, noting the death of an asylum seeker outside a Mississauga shelter last week. Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow said governments still need to do more. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, meanwhile, hosting a short summit this week with European Union leaders.
While they discussed a range of issues, the war in the Middle East was high on the agenda. The PM weighed in on the latest developments as hostilities paused and hostages were freed today.
We've been calling for weeks for a significant humanitarian pause. It is progress that we have that right now, but there are many more steps we're going to have to take on together, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Those comments are a rejection of calls from advocates who say Canada should be pushing for a full ceasefire in the conflict. European leaders said they'll push for more people to be freed, more humanitarian aid for Gaza, and an eventual two-state solution.
We very much welcome the humanitarian pause to end the terrible ordeal of hostages held by Hamas and other terrorist groups. We will continue to reach out with as much diplomatic passion as possible to make sure that all hostages are safely returned.
The summit in St. John's also touched on military support for Ukraine as it repels Russia's invasion and Canada-EU cooperation on climate, energy, and trade.
U.S. President Joe Biden welcomed the start of the pause, saying it was reached in part through extensive diplomatic efforts out of Washington.
Today's release are the start of a process. We expect more hostages to be released tomorrow, and more the day after, and more the day after that. Over the next few days, we expect that dozens of hostages will be returned to their families. We also remember all those who are still being held and renew our commitment to work for their release as well.
Biden said a structure is in place to possibly enable more hostages to be freed and a truce longer than 4 days.
Protests broke out last night in central Dublin after a knife attack Thursday saw 3 children and a woman injured. A 5-year-old girl was among the victims after she was attacked outside a school. Police said over 400 officers, including many in riot gear, were deployed in Dublin city centre to contain the protests. Participants set fires and yelled anti-immigrant slogans, which Ireland's Prime Minister condemned.
These criminals did not do what they did because they love Ireland. They did not do what they did because they wanted to protect Irish people. They did not do it out of any sense of patriotism, however warped. They did so because they're filled with hate. They love violence, they love chaos, and they love causing pain to others.
Irish police say a man in his 50s who was also hospitalized is a person of interest in the knife attack. It's not being investigated as terror-related.
Rescuers have resumed drilling as they race to try and reach 41 construction workers who've been trapped in a collapsed tunnel in northern India now for nearly 2 weeks. The brother of one of the workers says he is hopeful all of the workers will make it out. A drilling platform issue that halted efforts to reach the workers has now been fixed. The workers have been trapped since November 12th when a landslide caused a portion of the tunnel they were building to collapse.
In neighboring Pakistan, residents of Lahore breathe some of the worst air on the planet today. A thick haze hangs over the country's second largest city. A Swiss group that monitors air quality around the world ranked the city as the world's second most polluted, with an air quality rating of 280. New Delhi ranked number 1 on that list.
The United Nations Secretary General visited Antarctica today to sound the alarm over our warming planet.
If you look at Greenland and Antarctica together, you have already many scientists that say that we are approaching the tipping point in which Greenland will lose its ice mass and West Antarctica would lose its ice mass, which means that we absolutely need to act immediately.
Antonio Guterres was joined by Chile's president on the trip ahead of the COP28 climate talks, where countries will face questions about their emissions reductions plans.
The world's largest iceberg has finally begun moving after being stuck to the ocean floor for more than 3 decades. It broke off from the Antarctic coastline back in 1986 and has been grounded since. It's almost 6 times larger than the city of Toronto. Scientists say the iceberg could now float beyond Antarctic waters.
Well, with the holidays fast approaching, today marked an opportunity for many shoppers to take care of their gift lists or buy something for themselves at a discount.
Today is Black Friday, of course, and while the event has gained popularity here in Canada, it's still the headline shopping day in the United States. There were celebrations and door prizes at stores in the Mall of America, looking to entice customers to spend in a time of economic uncertainty and tighter wallets. Outside many U.S. stores, shoppers camped out overnight, hoping to be the first ones inside for whatever discounts were on offer.
People always say, like, oh, why don't you just do, like, online shopping? But I still find fun in going out and hanging out with my friends and stuff and just being out here, you know? It's early in the morning, but you only live once, so.
Because we have the outlet discounts as it is, and then they'll slap a 60% off on the door, and it's like, okay, all my Christmas shopping's done in one day.
And here's a look at one packed mall parking lot at 12 Oaks Mall in Massachusetts. A record 130.7 million people are expected to shop in stores and online in the U.S. on Black Friday this year.
And of course, the Black Friday phenomenon is also pretty big on this side of the border. CTV's John Musselman is at Yorkdale Mall tonight with shoppers on the hunt for deals. John.
Well, Zoraida, we heard from analysts, they think that spending will be down about 11% this year, but if you come to Yorkdale, it's hard to believe that. This place is packed, people looking for deals. Yorkdale Mall is always a busy place, but Black Friday takes it to a whole other level. Thousands flock here looking for deals and getting a head start on that holiday shopping.
So I got a winter hat over here because it's getting cold outside. A kind of fanny pack purse, kind of matches the hat. And I got a Christmas gift for my family.
It was pretty worth it. Like, I ended up buying a few things for myself. I think the intention was to buy for other people, but we're doing half and half.
Every Black Friday, we're here at 7:30.
What have you gotten so far?
We bought almost everything on our Christmas list. So family, our daughters, friends. It's been a good haul.
It's a great time, Christmas time coming up. So a great day to shop and do it all in one place.
Black Friday is the unofficial kickoff to the holiday shopping season. However, retail analysts say the latest outlook suggests Canadians will spend on average just under $1,300 this year. That's an 11% drop from last year. This shopper didn't seem too worried about how much he was spending.
Great. I mean, it was just the first store. We got some new shoes, but I'm planning on getting a whole nother outfit, maybe two. It's Black Friday.
What's your budget?
There is no budget. What is the point of a budget? Why limit yourself to something? No budget.
How much do you think you spent?
$2K. Yeah, maybe more, I don't know.
Retailers are looking forward to Black Friday today, but also welcoming the weekend. We do see sales are starting earlier, so it's a trend that we've been seeing over the years that Black Friday has now become a full week or more.
Officials with Yorkdale Mall are advising shoppers to plan ahead. Parking is always a challenge at Yorkdale. The lot was packed today, and vehicles were circling and waiting for any spots to open up. And as you heard in that story, there are people spending quite a bit of money here, but there's also a lot of shoppers we talk to who say they are only buying if they can find a deal. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. Right back to you.
Thank you, John.
Coming up, searching for Sam, a former college hockey player disappears on a journey to see every country in the world. W5 explores the incredible story of how Sam got home.
Well, Santa's got another busy schedule this weekend. He is coming to many towns for parades around the GTA in Southern Ontario, including the original Santa Claus parade on Sunday. Don't forget there's a new route, and if you're planning on lining it, you might want to bring some warmer clothing and maybe something waterproof as well. We'll talk about the precipitation in the forecast this weekend coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
Tonight, W5 shares the terrifying tale of a former college hockey player who ended up in a Syrian prison.
Sam Goodwin wanted to visit every country on earth, but when he traveled to Syria, he was jailed in 2019 for espionage. Here's Rick Westhead with the incredible efforts that led to Goodwin's release and how hockey helped him survive.
I was talking to my mom on FaceTime.
Sam Goodwin was telling his mother what life looked like in a northern Syrian city when everything went wrong.
As I was talking to her, this armed military officer approaches me and he points at me and he tells me to come to his side of the road.
Then I just hear, I'm talking to my mom, and then the line goes quiet. I didn't like the way that sounded.
Goodwin, a former college hockey player from St. Louis, had been nabbed by military police. At the time, he'd been traveling all over the world, committed to visiting all 193 countries. Police were suspicious of his motives.
And they accused me of coming to Syria with bad intentions. I was driven to the center of town and taken into the basement of a facility that I now know is called Syria's Military Intelligence Prison, number 215, a facility notoriously known for housing political prisoners. It's known to be essentially a human slaughterhouse.
Sam spent a total of 62 days in prison, half of it in solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement is torture. Every day I would hear the sounds of inmates in neighboring cells screaming from being beaten and tortured. I'm not sure I knew what fear was until I heard a grown man screaming for his life.
Incredibly, Sam found solace in hockey. At the time, the St. Louis Blues, Sam's team, were on their way to winning the Stanley Cup. And to give his mind a break, Sam kept track of when the games were played and imagined what was happening. Finally, through the friend of Sam's sister, they were able to get word to a military general who secured Sam's release.
And I just hugged him and just, Sam, I just love you so much. And I go, are you okay? And he said, yes. And then I said, did they hurt you? And he said, no.
That was indescribably emotional and, frankly, a breathtaking display of God answering prayers.
Rick Westhead, CTV News, St. Louis, Missouri.
And you can check out Rick's full report, Searching for Sam. It airs tonight at W5's New Time, 10 o'clock, right here on CTV. Well, it is yet another sign of the season with temperatures dipping below freezing. The city is opening up some skating rinks.
Starting tomorrow, 41 outdoor ice rinks will open for the winter season, with 50 outdoor rinks in total being available over the next 2 weeks. There will be free leisure, public skating, plus figure skating, shinny, ringette, instructional programs, and permits for a fee. Outdoor rinks will operate from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and skaters are encouraged to check their local rink as conditions, as we know, do fluctuate.
And of course, one of the city's most iconic outdoor rinks is at Nathan Phillips Square, where crews today were preparing for the Cavalcade of Lights. This year's display was inspired not only by Christmas and Hanukkah, but winter solstice and lantern festivals right around the world. The 17-meter or 57-foot tall tree was sourced from Weller Farms in Baldwin.
And as far as setting up the square, this has been going on for about two weeks now, including the installation of the tree. And then really this week we started installing all the different lighting pieces.
You'll be able to spot a whopping 300,000 lights spread across the square as the Cavalcade of Lights kicks off tomorrow at 6:30 with special guests and performances. And don't forget the Santa Claus Parade is on Sunday.
Yes, there are a whole bunch of festive plans this weekend, and it's always nice when the weather cooperates.
Yeah, it seems like, Mother Nature just flipped a switch, and there we go. We've got Christmas and holiday activities, and then we've got the weather to go with it.
Yeah, right on cue. First flakes of the season for many here in the GTA today. Tomorrow's looking like a really nice day. Sunday, things have potential to get a little bit messy. So if you're hoping to hang the lights outside this weekend, I'm going to suggest tomorrow, because by Sunday, the temperature might be a little bit warmer, but it has potential to be a little mixed. Weather is brought to you by Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train. -1 degree is what we're at right now here in the city. It feels into the minus double digits already in places like Ottawa, North Bay, Timmins, and Moosonee. We can thank the winds for it feeling a little bit colder out there than the temperature suggests also. And it was a chilly start to our day today. Here's a look at Peterborough, starting off the day at almost -7 degrees. Algonquin Park, nearly -15. As we make our way through tonight, it's not expected to be quite as cold in some areas. In others, it is going to remain quite frosty. And then tomorrow, there it is, your outdoor decorating forecast. Yes, you'll need the gloves, the hat, the scarf, all of the above, but at least condition-wise, it's looking pretty pleasant. We should be able to enjoy some sun for your Saturday. Cloud cover is going to increase as the day goes on. And then by Sunday afternoon, we could get into some rain and then eventually maybe some snow as well. Speaking of snow, that's what we've had today. Lake effect snow off of Georgian Bay. The band's now starting to dissipate off of Lake Huron. That's going to continue to happen. This winter weather travel advisory will come to an end at some point tonight, but many communities had a couple of centimeters accumulate today, again, just to the south. And we got a few flurries as a result of that here in the GTA. There's tomorrow midday, mix of sun and cloud, increase in cloud cover. Sunday is going to start off dry. The morning, we don't need to worry about precipitation. Going to pause this around 3:30 there just to show you the wet weather moving in. Notice this mixing line. So it does come close to the GTA. We could see some snow perhaps late Sunday and then overnight into Monday as this system wraps around. More in the way of lake effect snow is going to be possible. It's expected to be a blustery day. And next week is also going to be quite cool. So 3 degrees on Monday, 0 for Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'm already looking ahead to next Friday for perhaps another round of mixed precipitation. That's a look at the forecast. A reminder that CTV's Toy Mountain campaign is now officially underway. And we have some special messages tonight from a few notable donors.
Hi everybody, Mike Myers here. I just want to say congratulations to the CTV News Toy Mountain campaign that is also associated with the Salvation Army. I donated some toys. You can too. It's very easy. Alrighty.
Hey everybody, Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys here. Listen, this holiday season, CTV's Toy Mountain campaign in support of the Salvation Army is collecting toys for families in need to brighten their holidays. So let's get into the holiday spirit and help build a mountain of toys. Visit toymountain.ca for more information, including drop-off locations and how you can donate online.
There you go. Mike Myers and Nick Carter both making donations to the Salvation Army and kind enough to send us those videos. We'd love to see how you are helping us build a mountain of toys as well. Send your pictures or videos to toy.mountain@bellmedia.ca. You just might catch yourself here on our newscast. That's it for now. Zoraida, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, a not-so-sweet sight on social media. Canadian dietitians paid to endorse sugar. It's caught the eye of the U.S. Consumer Protection Agency, and now health experts are weighing in here at home. 2 Canadian dietitians have caught the eye of the U.S. Federal Trade Commission for posts on Instagram.
The FTC expressing concern about posts endorsing the consumption of sugar. And as CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, it appears the Canadian Sugar Institute paid them to do so.
So I don't personally do sponsored content.
And registered dietitian Kara Rosenblum says the vast majority of Canadian dietitians don't, but it may be a growing trend, food industry groups sponsoring content on social media, like these posts. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission says it knows of at least 2 Canadian dietitians who have endorsed the consumption of sugar and were apparently paid by the Canadian Sugar Institute, but it says that connection is not clearly displayed.
And that's where we have the conflict. And so whether it actually does or not, the existence of that sponsorship agreement undermines that health professional's obligation to put the public interest first.
Rosenblum says each province and territory has a regulatory body for dietitians with specific guidelines for social media posts.
Having a hashtag with the word ad is not enough. You must clearly state the name of the company that you are partnering with. And in the case of Instagram, you have to link it as a paid partnership, so it says right at the top of the post.
In a written statement, the Canadian Sugar Institute says it is not involved in drafting content and does not author posts. And it says sponsorship is transparently disclosed in captions and using Instagram's paid partnership tool. But at least one post appeared to encourage parents to allow their children free rein with sugar consumption. According to the World Health Organization, excess sugar leads to an increased risk of chronic health conditions such as heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and cancer.
I also wouldn't say that you want to make sugary foods, cookies, snacks, treats, that you want to make them so off limits that children crave them or sneak them or think that they're a bad food. There's a balance in between those two messages.
While regulations already exist, Rosenblum says it may be time to tighten them up so science and advertising are not confused. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Double amputee Olympic runner Oscar Pistorius has been granted parole 10 years after shooting his girlfriend through a bathroom door at his home in South Africa. Pistorius was convicted of a charge comparable to third-degree murder for shooting Riva Steenkamp in his home in 2013. The 37-year-old has been given a second chance at parole after he was wrongly ruled ineligible at a first hearing in March. His release from prison is expected to happen on January 5th.
Fans of ZZ Top have a chance to pick up some memorabilia at auction. The fur-lined guitar used in the 1984 video for the band's hit song Legs is expected to be the biggest draw. The family of ZZ Top founding member Dusty Hill donated the items for the auction. Hill died in 2021 at the age of 72. Some of the proceeds will be donated to the Music Cares charity.
Well, of course, it is a holiday long weekend south of the border, and a major battle is shaping up at the box office.
A most magical kingdom, founded by a king with the power to grant wishes.
Disney's Wish had long been expected to dominate ticket sales, but Variety reports it's been struggling against a strong performance from The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Right now, the Hunger Games prequel looks set to come out on top, which would be a major upset.
Stars Tonight is brought to you by Last Man's Bad Boy. Who's better? Nobody.
After the break, 'tis the season of toys, but a Toronto-based toy chain has obtained creditor protection as it faces financial troubles.
On the next CP24 Breakfast, we're live at a GTA tree farm getting some pro tips on how to pick the perfect tree this holiday season. And that's next on CP24 Breakfast, up first at 5:30 a.m.
Tomorrow night, the tree will be lit at Nathan Phillips Square, celebrating the city's cavalcade of lights. We should remain dry for the event, but if you're going, you'll want to bundle up. Stay with us. Another look at the possible messy weather for Sunday is coming up.
I want to ask of Hamas, don't hurt them.
Updating our top stories, the desperate pleas from those with kidnapped loved ones were heard today with the start of a 4-day ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. As part of the agreement, 24 hostages were released by Hamas after being held in Gaza for several weeks. The exchange also saw 39 Palestinians released from Israeli prison.
Seems like they're some kind of, they're professional, they know what they're doing.
A Mississauga driver managed to deter thieves from taking his vehicle not once, but twice, thanks to his security system. This comes as the provincial government promises to invest $18 million over 3 years to help police crack down on vehicle thefts.
There are no shelter spaces. I know, because I was trying to find someone a shelter space at 7:30 last night.
People living in tents in Kensington Market are being asked to clear the area. The City of Toronto says the encampment poses as a fire risk. Advocates say they are worried about the lack of a permanent solution.
On the markets, the Canadian dollar traded higher about 1/3 cent to end the day at 73.36 cents U.S. Oil declined just over $1.50 to roughly 75.50 U.S. a barrel. And the TSX declined just over 13 points to end the trading week at 20,103.
Mastermind Toys has filed for creditor protection. The company says as part of the process, all 66 stores in Canada will remain open and holiday promotions will continue online and in store. Over the past several years, Mastermind Toys says it has faced a range of challenges, including increasing competition, disruptions from the COVID-19 pandemic, and more recently, a deteriorating macroeconomic environment.
In sports, the Maple Leafs were in action today, taking on the Blackhawks in an afternoon game that ended in dramatic fashion.
He fired that just wide. With a chance, they score!
Toronto blew a 3-1 lead and then gave up the winning goal with just 30 seconds left in overtime. Chicago took the game 4-3. The Leafs are back at it tomorrow against the Penguins in Pittsburgh.
Here's Scotty, turns the corner, slam dunk.
Meanwhile, the Raptors welcome the Chicago Bulls tonight in another in-season tournament game. Toronto is coming off a victory against the Pacers. The Raptors are winless in their first 2 in-season tournament games, which still count towards the regular season records. Tip-off tonight is at 7:30 p.m.
Just ahead, why did the chicken take the TTC? No, really, why is there a chicken on the TTC? We delve into the case of the commuting poultry in mere moments.
Tonight, the tiny fix to a huge problem.
We need to provide community and development so that people can move ahead in their lives.
The micro community creating a path to affordable housing. That story and more later on CTV National News.
And a reminder, the CTV News at 6 podcast is available as a download every weeknight. And a special hello to those of you listening to the newscast live on News Talk 1010.
Hey
Hey Toronto, I'm Nicole Cervinas.
And I'm Teddy Wilson, and welcome to Things to Know TO.
Each week, we shine a spotlight on a wide variety of local businesses, services, events, and initiatives from across the GTA.
And if you or your company would like to be featured, you can contact our team by email at thingstoknowto@bellmedia.ca.
And don't forget, join us on Saturday mornings on CP24, CTV, and CTV2.
And hey, why not follow us on social at Things to Know TO.
It's a commonly asked question. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Well, tonight we may have an answer. Perhaps it was headed to catch the subway. This week, video of a chicken riding a TTC train surfaced on social media to the delight and curiosity of Torontonians. The bird, possibly a rooster, is clearly seen wandering the subway, which appears to be line 1. Now, it's not leashed or it doesn't appear to be traveling with anyone.
According to the transit agency, leashed dogs or pets secured in an enclosed container are welcome on weekends and off-peak periods. In a statement, the TTC spokesperson Stuart Green says, "We've seen some interesting animals loose on the TTC: crabs, beavers, snakes, pigeons. But this may be a first." He added, "By roaming free, this creature is clearly running afoul of our bylaw."
All right, well, there you go.
You don't see leashed chickens.
I've got nothing on that.
Didn't you notice how folks there were just going about their day,
Yeah.
looking at the phone, not even noticing? Yeah. I think that chicken needs a coat because it's cold now.
Yeah, leave the chicken alone.
Yeah. Well, maybe leave the chicken at home, especially with the cool weather that we've got coming. Just want to show you one more update on this special weather statement. It's a winter weather travel advisory, and it's shrinking. Still in place for the city of Barrie. These flurries are going to start to come to an end. Here's what we're waking up to tomorrow morning in the city of Toronto. Some sunshine. Eventually we'll climb to a high near 3 or 4 degrees, and then even warmer for Sunday, but we become unsettled with some showers and then flurries through the early part of next week. Michelle and Zoraida.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Heather Butts tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by our next local newscast with Zoraida at 11:30.
And in the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a great night.
We'll see you at 11:30.